Hey everyone, I'm Spider-Man 1991, and I like to read comic books, and these are all the comic books that I bought that came out June 18th, 2014. This was a pretty light week for me because there's only 3 comic books, so this review is probably going to be pretty short. Okay, the only comic book I got from DC is, well, no surprise, shouldn't be a surprise if you see my reviews frequently, Batman Eternal number 11. Pretty much in this issue, Batgirl heads to Brazil to track down lead she has in Jim Gordon's arrest, and the last time Batgirl appeared in this series it was, I believe, in issue number 4, and she was pretty much behaving so irrational that Batman had to call in Red Hood in order to try to talk sense to her, which happens in this issue. This issue when her plan gets sort of intercepted by Red Hood, and also she deals with a member of the Club of Villains from Batman Incorporated series. And also back in Gotham, Alfred attempts to bond with Julia Pennyworth. Well, not really bond, is just try to get some common ground in, because she really has no respect for him, because she believes that Alfred just left being an army doctor just to go be some rich kid's butler. She has no idea that Bruce Wayne is Batman. So I think at some point Alfred might tell her so that she can understand his actions a bit more. Also, Stephanie Brown continues to find out more information about her father's past as Cluemaster, and apparently he retired one night when Batman showed up at his house and Stephanie came in on them when she was really young, and apparently she blocked it out of her mind. And at the beginning and end of this issue, Selina Kyle also reads a letter from her father, and we can neither confirm but it's not really confirmed that it's Carmine Falcone yet. And pretty much it's just seen as kind of a framing device for the events that go on in this series, because it's pretty much this issue did have a theme of fathers and their daughters. In this case, Batgirl trying to prove Jim Gordon's innocence, Alfred trying to bond with his daughter Julia Pennyworth, and Stephanie Brown trying to understand her father and why he became Cluemaster. But yeah, most of the Batgirl stuff in this issue felt like I was reading a sort of untold story of Batman Incorporated. Like, it used a lot of elements from Batman Incorporated, the Club of Villains reference. Also, El Gucho, I hope I'm saying that right, appears in the issue after Red Hood gets Batgirl out of there. Artwork in this, though, so pretty much this book had a lot of things going on in it, which is pretty much what a weekly series does. It has a lot of stories in it, and I think they covered a lot of different things in this issue. But unfortunately, the artwork isn't really that great. I mean, it was just almost everyone had like big eyes on their faces, and it looked really rough. Also, when the artist Ian Bertram drew Red Hood, he kind of drew a little mouth on him. Like, why? Why would you do, like, that was just like, I mean, it did like set me off, but still, it just looked really, really bad. So, Batman Eternal number 11, I would say just borrowed from a friend. Next up from Marvel, we have Daredevil issue number 4. Pretty much, Matt Murdock is picking up from last issue's cliffhanger where Matt Murdock is about to fall into a pit of fire. He's saved when Shroud tosses him his billy club. However, Shroud leaves with the owl before Matt can actually do anything. Later, Shroud helps Owl break into some sort of software company where they're developing a device that could somehow allow someone to feed data directly into their site through some method. It's kind of complicated, a little bit hard to explain, but basically the Owl wants to break in and use this device on himself so that he can see almost every piece of information that's available. Fortunately, though, Daredevil shows up, stops them, and during the fight, though, Daredevil kind of starts to realize that something is wrong with the Shroud. He's fighting Daredevil because Daredevil is saving his life, and so Daredevil is able to incapacitate Shroud, and also knock out the Owl. But unfortunately, when the cops show up and find the Owl, apparently it looks like the procedure. The Owl did expose himself to the device, but at the end, though, we kind of get when the cops find him, the Owl's eyes are kind of glowing, so which obviously hints that maybe the device did work on him. And later, Daredevil confronts Shroud about his actions and says that about how basically Shroud has been trying sort of suicide by a supervillain recently because Shroud has been really hitting hard times, especially since he lost his girlfriend Julia Carpenter. And so Daredevil tells Shroud that he will help him find Julia, and then at that point Shroud leaves. Okay, the device that the owl was trying to steal, when I saw it drawn in this series, it looked a lot like the device that we saw in that issue, Daredevil 1.5, which showed us Daredevil 50 years in the future, and also the owl's daughter. So I think that might have been some foreshadowing to this. I mean, and like I said, Owl being captured, the way his eyes looked, it sort of signified that the device probably worked on him. So I think now that the Owl can pretty much access like any information he wants, I think that's a pretty good revamp for this character. Again, Daredevil, it's a very great series, and also I like the way Mark Waid writes Daredevil. You know, I like the way how he pretty much still even though Shroud's pretty much betrayed him at every turn, he still kind of helps him, especially at the end where he gives him the tough love talk, telling him that, you know, he's been through a ton of crap too, but he has to get over it. So I thought that was good. So I thought Daredevil was a good issue. I mean, always, this is one of my favorite Marvel comics, so I would say Daredevil #4 is definitely a buy. Alright, next up, Silver Surfer #3, the conclusion to the first story arc. Silver Surfer is able to kill and defeat Nebulous Zed, who stole the heart of the Never Queen to help power his ultimate planetary hotel, the Impericon. And also, after Surfer is able to successfully remove the heart, Dawn Greenwood is able to bring it to the Never Queen and restore her strength. And the interesting thing about the Never Queen's heart is that when Dawn holds it, it takes the form of some little monkey toy that, you know, you've seen here on the cover. This is the thing that the heart takes the form of, like a little monkey toy, which the Surfer reasons that it's taking a form that Dawn's human mind could comprehend. And so the closer Dawn gets the Never Queen to put the heart in, it takes the form of a bunch of other items until she finally puts it back in the Queen. And afterwards, though, all the people that were captured by Zed are free to go, and they say goodbye to Dawn and the Surfer. Also, Eternity, the lover of the Never Queen, banishes Zed to a dimension where a dimension of things that never happened or never will happen. It's kind of hard to explain that part, but in the end, though, Silver Surfer offers to take Dawn home, and she agrees, and so I guess that's where they're headed next. Okay, this is actually Silver Surfer is a very great series. I mean, I love the way that Dan Slott writes Surfer and Dawn Greenwood together. They have a great interaction because they get along well for two beings who are completely different, because Silver Surfer is an all-powerful cosmic surfer, and Dawn Greenwood is just a girl from Earth. So, and they had some very funny exchanges of dialogue, because earlier in the issue, when Surfer's summoning his board, he says, "To me, my board," and later at the end of the issue, Dawn suggests that the board's name is To Me, which the Surfer hears that, he's like, "Wait, why do you think that's its name?" Because he said, "To me, my board," and at that point, the Surfer cracks up laughing, which is hilarious, which is really funny, and you know, and also, if you like Doctor Who, I think that's the kind of thing that Dan Slott's trying to do with this series. He writes it as if with sort of the same spirit of Doctor Who, because the way I see it is the Surfer and Dawn are kind of like the Doctor and his companions. You know, one's this outer space phenomenal cosmically gifted traveler, and the other's a person from Earth. So, you know, he's able to get that same type of chemistry and apply it to this comic book, which is very nice. If you are a fan of sci-fi, Doctor Who, you should definitely give Silver Surfer a try because it is awesome. Okay, that's it for my comic review this week. Like I said, it was a very, very light week. I mean, only 3 comics. That's probably the smallest amount of comics I've gotten in a while. Okay, so again, thank you for watching my video. Thank you for subscribing to my channel. If you want, you can check out my other videos. I'm Spider-Man 1991. See you later.